Yato, a stray god who desires to be known through the world. Although instead of doing actual god things like defeating the Demon King or teleporting someone to another world and giving them SS rank powers, he does odd jobs for only 5 yen apiece. However, as Yato was strolling in the road, a girl leaped in front of truck-Kun, taking the hit for him. When she woke up, she found herself associated with the other world and befriended Yato. However, to the public, Yato is a kind-hearted god. But for another god, they seek revenge on Yato for his actions when he was the god of calamity. The anime begins with a girl in her classroom being all depressed, hallucinating about her classmates calling her a worthless loser. Not only are the classmates making fun of her, but an ugly long monster is watching her from outside the window too. The girl gets scared for her life and anxiously prays to God to help her. Right then, a stinky looking guy tosses a coin, saying her prayers have been listened. Yato has come with his regalia, a god's weapon and spirit. Tamon. The monster is called a phantom and is formed due to students' stress about exams. Yato and Tamon begin their fight with the phantom and defeat it in no time. After the fight, Tamon shows disgust over being used by Yato's sweaty hands and asks him to release her from being his partner as he's a useless bum of a god without a shrine. Almost similar to yourself. Yato releases her from being his regalia, and she walks away happily as if she has been freed from a 15-year sentence. As a jobless god without a shrine, Yato takes up every small job he receives the honor to do. This time, he has to search for a cat named Mylord. While searching for it, he comes across a meathead wrestling fangirl, Hiyori, who is another leading character in the story. When he crosses her, he sees Mylord sitting in the middle of the road and runs into the road to catch it immediately. Suddenly, Hiyori pushes him from behind to avoid getting hit by the menace truck-Kun. They both are driven across the road, and when she notices her surroundings, she finds her body lying on the road while her soul is outside her body. Upon waking up, she is in the hospital but only vaguely remembers what happened. At night, Yato creeps into her bed like he's my uncle and scares the daylights out of her. He introduces himself as an up-and-coming stray god, Yato, and talks about his delusions of becoming the most famous god. Hiyori, thinking he's the god of Delulu, calls the police on him. He leaves soon after checking on Hiyori's health. The next day, she feels dizzy all day at school, and while returning home, she comes across Mylord's missing poster, which reminds her of everything. She starts searching for the cat, but Yato finds it first. Ugly, slimy phantoms appear there, and Yato runs from them. He finds it difficult to fight with phantoms without a regalia, and he is about to be attacked by a hideous frog phantom when Hiyori arrives there and pulls him away from the phantom. She kicks the monster in the face as the spirit of John Cena possesses her, but it isn't enough to defeat it, so they run from there. Hiyori again finds her soul, which has a tail, slipped out of her body. Yato delivers Mylord to its owner and carries Hiyori while she's unconscious. Surprisingly, she finds his sweaty smell nice. After she wakes up, he tells her that she exists between the far shore, which is the afterlife, and the near shore, which is the living world. She is a half phantom and losing her body will be expected from now on. Hearing this, she begs him to turn her back. He isn't sure if she can be turned back, but being a cheap god, he agrees to help her for a mere 5 yen. When she gives him a 5 yen coin, he assures her that her wish has been heard. Ever since the incident, Hiyori feels drowsy all the time. Aside from that, she can see small phantoms around her all the time. Unknowingly, her soul leaves her body one day, and she bunks the school. She roams around the city like a bird and observes random phantoms. While hopping on the power lines, she notices a dark aura coming out of somewhere and suddenly remembers Yato has not contacted her yet. After returning to her body, she calls him to get to her. He arrives at her location and gets to know from Yato that he is the god of war, although that is long gone and now only does odd jobs. He warns her that as a living phantom, another phantom would try to possess her, and she would cross the line between worlds. She asks him to fix her already, but he instead starts blabbering about his delusions of becoming rich. He tells her that he has no regalia for now, so it will be difficult for him to help her, basically implying that he's useless. He receives a job call and leaves her behind. As a modern, independent woman, she decides to take matters into her own hands and search for a regalia for him. She notices spirits gathering at a specific location and heads there, hoping one might become Yato's regalia. Meanwhile, the god she seeks a weapon for is scrubbing bathroom mold for a coin. Aware of how pathetic his situation is, he retreats to an empty shrine of another god to drown his sorrows. He then gets a call from Hiyori, informing him she has found a regalia. When he arrives, he is terrified to find a massive phantom and grabbing Hiyori, immediately flees from it. He explains to her dumbass that he can't just have those evil phantoms as his regalia. Hiyori feels agile in her phantom body, so she makes a failed attempt to show off her barely existent martial arts skills, which almost sends her to the afterlife. Yato saves her and in the process, his arm is engulfed by the phantom. He pulls it out and takes Hiyori to a relatively safer place. He warns her to stay away from his hand because it has been defiled, and the defilement can spread to her if she's not cautious. She also learns from him that her tail connects her physical and phantom forms. If it is destroyed, she will die. The phantom arrives there too, and they start running from it again. Yato finds a pretty young spirit and has no choice but to make it his regalia. He reads chanting and makes it his regalia, a great sword. Using it, he eliminates the phantom, which vanishes into the sky. After the fight, he goes to some shrine and cleans his hand to remove blight through the water. Hiyori reaches there, and Yato gives his sword name Yukine. After receiving the name, the sword transforms into a boy who shivers from the snow and cold outside. Yato offers Yukine his jacket, but Yukine refuses, saying it reeks of sweat, so Hiyori gives her scarf to him. Yato stands there frozen, basking in the disrespect he just received from his own regalia. As Yato is a broke bum without a coin to spare, he provides Yukine with some clothes from trash bins, and for food, he finds some leftover fish from the bins. Yukine thinks the universe is playing hopscotch with his luck because how did he get stuck with a god that loiters in streets in search for food and sleeps at someone else's shrine? To save his face a little in front of the new guy, Yato makes Hiyori treat them for lunch and she agrees because she wants him to fix her problem. She learns from Yato that although he is a god, he is not invisible. They can be seen when noticed but get forgotten easily. After eating like pigs, they leave the restaurant. Outside, Yukine has a dirty thought about Hiyori's chest which Yato senses immediately. Yato scolds his regalia, Yukine, for having wicked thoughts, reminding him that a god shares his mind with his regalia and can sense everything Yukine thinks. Just then, Yato receives a call and leaves, taking Yukine with him. Hiyori also clings to them as they depart. They arrive at a misty location where Yato suspects someone has lured him with a fake call. A figure appears, making cherry trees bloom and reciting lines from a poem, which makes Hiyori believe he is the god of learning, Tenjin. Awed by his godly presence, Hiyori and Yukine immediately kneel before him. Yato feels humiliated by the stark contrast in how he and Tenjin are treated. Tenjin reveals he called Yato because he has many wishes from students as exams approach and wants Yato to handle the phantoms. He mentions that Yato has been jobless and staying at one of his shrines. Initially resistant, Yato is tempted by Tenjin offering a 5-yen coin. Tenjin then summons his regalia, Mayu, who turns out to be Tamon, a former servant of Yato. Tamon mocks her previous master, calling him a sweats-wearing, stinky drifter, further tarnishing Yato's already damaged reputation in front of Yukine and Hiyori. When going for the job, Mayu tells them phantoms are going around encouraging people to off themselves. A student lost her life due to it recently. Yato seems indifferent and says that there is no saving a person who wants to commit suicide. Hiyori hates his way of thinking and moves on to save people on her own in anger. Yato is about to go back without doing his job, but Mayu compels him by saying Tenjin has paid him in advance. He has no choice but to agree, so he prepares Yukine for his first job. Hiyori is on the other side and angry over Yato. She sees a phantom clinging to a man's shoulder, so she kicks it. More phantoms appear there and unable to fight back. Hiyori is captured by them and trapped on a railway track. Yato comes to save her, and they get on the train. They see a phantom encouraging a student to jump in front of the train, and Yato eliminates it with his regalia just in time. Going back, Hiyori realizes what Yato meant back then. He did not want the regalias to see others taking their lives when the regalia used to be people who wanted to live. At night, Yato gives Yukine a jacket to warm himself. Yukine accepts it and takes himself to sleep. However, a mysterious little girl is observing them in the shrine while they are sleeping. Yato is dreaming about him being the most popular god with a fandom called Yatoites when Yukine kicks his ass and brings him back to the harsh reality. In the morning, Hiyori brings a meal for Yato and Yukine, hoping Yato will finally fulfill her wish. Yato rises with a serious expression, signaling he's ready to take action. However, he quickly reverts to his usual antics, producing a useless pot and other random items he acquired from a scam, believing they would make him rich. Frustrated, Hiyori and Yukine immediately break the pot. Hiyori then urges Yato to consider his feelings and act like a true god. Listening to her, Yato adopts a serious demeanor and tells Hiyori that he wants her to meet someone. He brings Hiyori and Yukine to where one of the 7 gods of fortune, Kafuku, resides with her regalia, Daikoku. Yato acts so chummy with Kafuku that Daikoku has to stop them. Being mad at Daikoku for being rude to him, Yato accuses him of being a PDF file, and Hiyori hides Yukine from him immediately. Daikoku assures them that he's nothing like that and makes small talk with the kid while Kafuku annoys the hell out of Hiyori. She tells the duo that despite his goofy and dumb looks, Yato is actually a terrifying god. Right then, Yato appears, saying he has a job and takes Yukine and Hiyori with him. The job is to save a man, Yusuke, who is about to jump off a building. However, he didn't even have to do the jump himself since Yato accidentally knocks him off on his arrival. The trio chases Yusuke to save him. Even while falling, Yato manages to be insufferable by dropping a full-on introduction of himself. Hiyori cannot understand why Yato is asking questions while falling instead of saving him. Unexpectedly, the other guy is just as much of a dumbass as Yato and starts telling his story. He worked in an ad agency that went bankrupt, so he decided to off himself. He tried apologizing to his parents before jumping and accidentally called Yato. He further explains that he met a girl of Hiyori's age on a sidewalk some time ago and fell crazy in love with her. She seemed to have a strict household, so Yusuke asked her to go with him. They started dating after a while and Yusuke surpassed all levels of simping while being her boyfriend. He started noticing that every date he had with her ended up in a disaster, and his performance at his job also declined. Things reached the point that he went bankrupt. Yato thinks that he knows who the girl might be and his suspicions are confirmed when he sees the picture Yusuke shows. It is none other than Kafuku, the god of poverty, who brings disaster wherever she goes. Imagine your life is so bad that even a bad luck god manages to get you. They finally reach near the ground after a lifetime in the air, and Yato asks Yukine to cut Yusuke's ties with Kafuku. It is Yukine's first time severing ties, but he does a good job of saving Yusuke's life. In the end, Yusuke lands on the ground safely without any injury. At Kafuku's place, Kafuku tells them that she was just messing with the poor guy. When Yato and Yukine leave the place, Hiyori asks Kafuku about what she meant by Yato isn't as nice as he seems. She tells Hiyori that Yato killed his regalia and many people. However, Daikoku adds that it was long ago when people used to eliminate each other. When returning home, Yato confronts Hiyori and tells her that if something happens to him, she should go see Kafuku and Daikoku. Near a lake, Yukine is sitting, and a girl arrives saying he has eyes similar to a god. Yato goes there asking the girl, Nora, what she wants. She tells Yato to call her by name, which he gave her, and says that she'll always be waiting for him, as she disappears, and Hiyori wonders if she is also his regalia. Yato and the others are outside, where Yato picks a small phantom. He tells others that regalias has the power to draw a borderline between them and phantoms cannot pass through the borderline. He asks Yukine to draw it, so Yukine does and creates a strong borderline. Yato is impressed that the kid did this on his first try. Hiyori asks Yato about Nora and who she is, and he tells her that Nora is a friend of benefits. Hiyori decides to take Yukine with her as a filthy guy with several scandals with women like Yato is not befitting to be Yukine's guardian. Yato shows resistance as Yukine is a deprived kid going through puberty, and staying with a girl would create nasty thoughts in his mind. Due to the shared body and mind with his regalia, Yato can feel tingling pain in his body whenever Yukine thinks anything indecent of a girl. Hiyori and Yato both insist Yukine go with them, but Yukine chooses Hiyori over Yato as Hiyori for obvious reasons. They arrive at Hiyori's place, and she takes him to her brother's old room. While going down the stairs, she sees her parents have arrived with Yato behind them. But well, since he's a god, his presence isn't known to them. Yato makes a stupid cat face and does stupid things, annoying the heck out of Hiyori. They get outside and Hiyori scolds him for showing up as it defeats the whole person of taking Yukine away from him. Yato knows about Yukine's past and tells her that Yukine is afraid of the darkness. Shrines are sacred places that keep gods and regalia safe from phantoms. The night is a time of delivery and phantoms attack at this time, so he is afraid Yukine might not be able to handle this darkness. Back inside the home, Yukine comes to Hiyori's room like a 5-year-old complaining to his mother about the dark. Hiyori invites Yukine to sleep with her with the purest of intentions, not knowing that the kid before her is a pervert. Being afraid of darkness, Yukine agrees to sleep with Hiyori in bed. Hiyori smells Yato on Yukine, and the nasty smell somehow soothes her and she goes to sleep peacefully. Meanwhile, the boy can't take his eyes off her cleavage and his weird thoughts summon Yato. Yato nags him for sleeping with Hiyori and says that he's not ready for girls yet. Yukine gets flustered, saying Yato also has a girl as his regalia and does not need Yukine for his tasks. After saying it, Yukine runs inside the room. Meanwhile, out in the city, a mysterious woman rides on a lion while taking out phantoms with her American style. In the morning, Hiyori takes Yukine to a shop where Yukine takes a skateboard without buying it. Hiyori reprimands him, saying it's stealing, and puts the skateboard back in place. When she turns her head, she finds Yukine gone. She searches everywhere for him, but he cannot be found. Yato is also at the mall, and at the end of the day, Yato tells Hiyori that regalia were also human and different feelings of temptation are born in regalia. When the regalia performs the sin of acting on temptation, God can feel the pain. God rules over regalia and can give punishment to them. Hiyori leaves her body and starts searching for him again. As night approaches, Yukine starts getting scared and in the hurry to get home, he notices a little girl. She hugs him from behind and asks him to wait for her mother with her. While talking, he tells her that her mother won't be coming for her. On listening, she starts crying and goes into the dark. Many phantoms begin to appear to corrupt the girl's soul. Yukine draws a borderline to avoid phantoms coming to the girl. But a great phantom approaches them, which Yukine cannot fight. Hiyori pulls Yukine back, whereas a phantom captures the girl. Yato arrives there and asks Yukine to eliminate the phantom possessing the girl. However, Yukine doesn't want to eliminate the girl, but Yato explains to him that it is better to free her from her suffering than to continue to let the phantom have its way. Putting his thought aside, they both succeed in eliminating the phantom. Meanwhile, someone is currently informing the blondie from before about Yato being in town and getting a new regalia. Yukine has started to be afraid of phantoms, even small ones. While being at the mall, thinking about the things happening to him, he steals a skateboard he wanted from before. Meanwhile, Hiyori is out to search for Yukine because he has been a little upset, and Yato has not come there to meet him. While skating, Yato finds Yukine and asks him where he got the skateboard. Yukine lies, saying Hiyori bought it for him. However, as they are talking, Hiyori arrives there and feels glad that Yukine is together with Yato. However, Yato asks her if she was the one who bought the skateboard for him. Seeing Yato's enraged face, she lies by accepting that she has bought it for him, which surprises Yukine. It's sunsetting time, and Yato explains twilight as the boundary between day and night. It is a time when those who live in other worlds run wild and attack as monsters. Listening to it, Yukine feels anxious and afraid of the darkness. While stating this, one of the strongest gods of war, which her name is revealed to be Bishamon, appears, riding on a lion. She attacks Yukine using her whip, but Yato pushes him aside. Yato tells them that Bishamon is out to get revenge for something. Bishamon states her motive is to bring justice and eliminate evil. Yato drives Yukine to be his regalia, and they run away, leaving Hiyori behind. As Bishamon starts chasing after them, her regalia and navigator, Kazuma, tells her Yato's exact location. She has tons of regalias, including the lion she's riding on. Yato hides behind a building, where he tells Yukine to stop being childish, and his emotions affect Yato too. Honestly, I would have tossed that regalia by now, but you know that's just me. Yato comes out of hiding to fight with Bishamon, but Yukine does not want to fight for him. While fighting with Yato, Bishamon says she won't let him destroy any regalias again. Yukine useless ass gets distracted by the newly found information, and the sword cannot deflect the bullet as it has done before. Yato starts running away again, and Hiyori goes to where Kafuku is and tells her that Bishamon is chasing Yato. There, Hiyori learns about Yato being the god of calamity, and that he has killed Bishamon's regalia in the past. Despite the information, Hiyori begs Kafuku and Daikoku to help Yato, and they agree. Hiyori tracks Yato by his nasty smell, which she is obsessed with. Yato hides in the forest, and Yukine asks Yato if he has killed Bishamon's regalia, and wants to know the reason, but Yato replies that he just wanted to eliminate her regalia. Bishamon appears, and when they are about to fight, Kafuku arrives there, and using Daikoku as his regalia, her useless ass opens a vent driving out phantoms from it. Bishamon calls her lion regalia, who bites Yato, but Nora, hidden in bushes, binds lion using her spell. Kazuma now wants Bishamon to retreat, and while going back, she states her words to get revenge on him with her hands. After the fight, they all go to their places. Yato tries to clean the blight that has appeared on his back due to the rebellious acts of Yukine but cannot clean it. Nora appears, saying he can use her whenever he needs to. At this point you may as well, since everyone in this anime is completely useless besides Hiyori. Bishamon relaxes in a hot spring, contemplating Yato's weakened state due to his blight. Although she had the chance to eliminate him, she chose not to. Summoning Kazuma for a status update on the open vent, he appears and informs her that it has been 3 days since the vent opened. With the help of several shrines, it has been closed, but some phantoms escaped and need to be exterminated. Knowing it's her duty to deal with the phantoms, Bishamon leaves the hot spring and calls upon her regalia for the mission. Meanwhile, Hiyori brings breakfast to Yukine's room but finds Yato instead. She asks about his whereabouts, and Yato tells her that Yukine might be at Tenjin's place. Hiyori goes to Tenjin's shrine but doesn't find him there. Tenjin explains that he had come seeking work, hoping to escape Yato, who is seen as a jobless bum with another regalia. Tenjin declined Yukine's offer, not wanting him to become a Nora. Hiyori, confused, asks if Nora is not a name. Tenjin clarifies that Nora is a title given to those who serve multiple masters, making them prone to betrayal. This is why Noras are considered detestable within the divine community. They perform tasks that God does not wish to assign to his exclusive regalia. Hiyori leaves the area and, while standing on top of a building searching for Yukine, sees Bishamon. Suddenly, Kazuma appears behind her. He uses his power to restrain her so that Bishamon cannot sense her. Kazuma informs Bishamon that the area has been cleared of phantoms. After Bishamon leaves, Kazuma releases Hiyori from his spell and asks about Yato's condition. Yato has been suffering from a blight due to Yukine's rebellious actions. If it continues, he will die. Kazuma urges Hiyori to help Yato and deal with Yukine. Meanwhile, Yukine is frustrated that Tenjin did not hire him. Yato approaches him, offering a job, and takes Yukine with him. However, Yukine becomes angry when he realizes the job is that of a salesman. Hiyori, along with Kafuku and Daikoku, arrives, and Daikoku presents a job invitation since Yato has nothing useful to do. Suddenly, Yato feels pain in his neck and sees Yukine at the counter. Suspecting that the rebellious Yukine has started stealing money, Yato confronts him. Yukine denies it and runs away, dropping the stolen money. Yato immediately chases after him, with Hiyori following and reflecting on what Kazuma told her. She touches Yato's face, surprising the touch-deprived god, and makes him realize that regalias are not mere tools but beings with emotions. Meanwhile, Nora is with Yukine, brainwashing him into believing he is nothing but a troublesome brat, and that Yato doesn't need him. I mean, I can't say I don't agree with her, but you know. Yato arrives and transforms Yukine into a sword to eliminate a nearby phantom. However, he struggles because Yukine refuses to use his full power. Nora tries to compel Yato to use her instead, but Yato tells her to leave, insisting that he has Yukine. Despite appearing foolish, Yato knows how to handle Yukine and uses holy water to restore the sword's power. With renewed strength, Yato cuts the phantom into pieces and leaves with his useless boy. Hiyori is in her school's bathroom thinking about what Kazuma told her about Yato when she sees Yato above a bathroom stall. Yukine is there too and she beats the hell out of them, thinking they were here to peek at young girls like my uncle. Yato finally gets to speak and explains that he's here to deal with a male student sitting in a bathroom stall. Hiyori's mind short-circuits seeing him, and she beats him too. He tells her that he has come to the girls' bathroom to hide because he gets bullied every day during break time. Yukine does not seem to like that boy, Manabu, and Yato tells Yukine he is just like Manabu. Yukine hates that he is being compared with that spineless loser and runs away, slamming the door. They leave the bathroom, and Yato gives something to Manabu in exchange for his usual 5-yen coin. Yukine enters a classroom where he sees students studying and discussing regular things with friends. Yukine feels like hugging the ground from a high building, but even that's useless because he's already dead. Manabu is also in a classroom. A phantom is born, pushing him to eliminate those students or himself and forming such thoughts in his mind. He reaches into his pocket to use whatever Yato gave him and the scene switches. As Kafuku is watering her garden, Bishamon appears there with her regalia. They are there to seek augury, which is the prediction made by Kafuku about places where vents are most likely to be opened, letting Phantom into the lively world. Kafuku draws a lot of circles on maps to predict vents' location. Having so many vents opened, it is difficult for Bishamon to exterminate them all. Bishamon, aware of her tumultuous past with Yato, confronts Kafuku, suspecting she might be deliberately opening the vents to keep her away from Yato. Kafuku dismisses her concerns with a smirk, saying, "It's none of your business, but if anything happens to Yato, you'll have a storm to reckon with, and I mean the kind where you lose your umbrella and your dignity." Taken aback, Bishamon leaves, muttering about how dealing with gods is worse than herding cats. Meanwhile, Hiyori, worried about Yato, searches for him at school and finds him in the infirmary. As she tries to inspect his blight by lifting his shirt, he wakes up, catching her in an awkward position. Embarrassed, she punches him in self-defense. "I swear, I was just checking for blight. I'm not a pervert," she insists, blushing furiously. Yato, nursing his nose, replies, "Sure, Hiyori, next time try knocking first." Hiyori then expresses her concern about Yukine, and Yato, sensing a dark aura, wonders whether it's related to Manabu or Yukine. "Why do these things always happen when I'm trying to take a nap?" He groans. Manabu, in a tense confrontation, threatens a bully with a blade given by Yato but hesitates to use it. The bully, terrified, wets himself due to Manabu's menacing presence. "Seriously, dude." Manabu sighs, "Now I need new shoes." Meanwhile, Yukine, struggling with his identity, starts breaking school windows, causing Yato's blight to spread across his body. Hiyori, carrying Yato on her back, gets infected by the blight as well. "You know, Yato," she says, huffing under his weight, "I really need to start charging you for piggyback rides." They encounter Yukine, and Hiyori reveals that Yato has been suffering because of his actions. "Yukine, if you could stop breaking stuff and causing blights, that'd be great." Yato's running out of clean shirts. Arriving at Kafuku's place, Daikoku, seeing their blight, draws a boundary to prevent them from entering and spreading the infection further. "Sorry, no blights allowed," he says, waving them off. "Try coming back when you're not contagious." Hiyori informs Kafuku and Daikoku that Yato is about to die. Daikoku lets only Hiyori enter Kafuku's home, where he asks Kafuku to cleanse Hiyori's blight. Yukine has to be punished for Yato's blight, which only ablution can achieve. It requires 3 regalia to be performed. Besides Daikoku, they require 2 more regalia, and Daikoku goes out to get them. He first goes to Tenjin's shrine, where Mayu agrees to help him. Daikoku goes to different shrines to ask for help, but no one agrees. Hiyori listens to Kafuku on a call with Daikoku, who tells her they require one more regalia. Hiyori herself leaves the house to get one. First, she thinks of Nora but decides to ask Kazuma. She goes directly to Bishamon's shrine and shouts Kazuma's name loudly. Daikoku reaches home, telling Kafuku he has one regalia with him. Hiyori reaches there, bringing Kazuma with him. It makes Daikoku surprised that the Kazuma group is against Yato's. So how come he has come there? Kazuma explains that he owes Yato personally, and that's the reason he has come there to help him. Kazuma asks Yato to revoke Yukine's name and expel him, but Yato does not agree. Kazuma asks Yukine what he has done with Yato, but Yukine is indifferent, saying he did nothing special. They make Yukine strip off his shirt and discover phantoms harboring his body, revealing the extent of his god's suffering. 3 regalia surround Yukine, creating borderlines around him, initiating the ritual of ablution. This process forces the regalia to confess his sins to the others who will punish him. If the sinner denies his wrongdoings, he starts transforming into a phantom. Yukine, unwilling to accept his actions, begins this transformation. As Yukine struggles, he reluctantly admits to stealing and breaking things but justifies it by claiming that living beings deserve it since they possess everything. Trapped within the boundaries, he resists, causing Yato to share in his agony. The phantom within Yukine spreads, threatening to consume him completely. Yato, weakened, attempts to call Yukine by his name but lacks the strength. Hiyori rushes toward the boundaries, calling out Yukine's name. She pleads with him not to transform into a phantom, warning that she won't be his friend anymore if he does. The BS power of friendship starts to break through to Yukine, helping him regain consciousness. Yato, mustering his strength, also calls out to Yukine, reminding him that he gave him a name and wants him to live as a person. Moved by their words, Yukine comes to his senses and confesses his crimes, ending the ablution. By morning, the regalia are exhausted from punishing him. Yato instructs Yukine to apologize to Hiyori, who has done everything to keep Yato alive. She embraces them both, crying, bringing smiles to everyone around them. Yukine works diligently under Daikoku to repay the money he stole, hoping to obtain books from Hiyori that she would otherwise discard after finishing school. Yato and Hiyori, moved to tears like proud parents, cheer him on. Look at our little thief, all grown up and hitting the books. Kafuku arrives and informs Hiyori that she is in debt because she had sought Kafuku's help. You know, helping a friend out, Kafuku says with a grin. But even friends have a price tag. Despite offering a student discount, Kafuku saddles Hiyori with a 1,000,000 yen debt. Hiyori tackles Yato, demanding, "How do you plan to pay this off?" Another round of 5 yen wishes. The trio heads to Tenjin's shrine to express their gratitude for his past assistance. While Yato converses with Tenjin, Mayu pulls Hiyori and Yukine aside. Hiyori inquires about a missing regalia in the shrine. Mayu explains that the missing regalia was corrupted due to Yukine's condition. Tenjin is pretty strict about these things. Mayu says, "I hear he doesn't even let his regalias play with dirty laundry." Punishing the regalia through ablution, Tenjin considers hurting oneself or others a betrayal of the master. Revoking one after ablution is an act of kindness, so another master can take them, she adds. Yukine is fortunate Yato still keeps him. "You've got a heart of gold, Yato," Hiyori teases, "or maybe just a brain of jelly." Inside the shrine, Yato asks Tenjin how to fix Hiyori, as she has been staying in her phantom form lately. Although Hiyori has paid him for it, Yato has not considered it because he does not know the solution. "It's like trying to fix a car with a sushi roll," Yato jokes. Hiyori has helped him greatly and he wants to return the favor. Tenjin suggests he cut ties with her as he has been pulling her into their world. "Great, just cut the cord like it's a bad TV subscription," Yato mutters. After school, Hiyori goes out with her friends and learns about a god named Rabao, reputed to make people disappear upon request. Disappearing act, huh? Hiyori quips. Maybe he should start a magic show. Yato is at work when Hiyori calls, inviting him to Tenjin's shrine for the first New Year visit. Yato agrees when she mentions there will be food stalls. "You had me at food," Yato replies with a grin. Dressed in her beautiful kimono, Hiyori joins her friends to go to the shrine. At the shrine, she spots what she thinks is Yato and runs towards him in her phantom form, leaving her body behind with her friends. However, Yato and Yukine have not yet arrived. They are attacked by phantoms on the way and fight back. "Just another day in the life," Yato says, dodging an attack. A white-haired man, previously seen with Nora, also appears. Meanwhile, Hiyori reaches a park following what she believes is Yato but does not find him. On her way back, Nora confronts her and attacks with puppet dogs, aiming to bite her tail. Hiyori evades and leaps to a building where the sunlight causes the dogs to vanish. "I guess even ghost dogs hate Mondays," she jokes. Nora informs Hiyori that Rabao has awakened and intends to kill Yato. She also claims that Yato has weakened because of Hiyori and then does something to her. "You really know how to ruin a girl's day, don't you?" Hiyori grumbles. Yato eventually defeats all the phantoms, impressing Rabao with his strength. Still got it, he smirks. Yato and Yukine then head towards Hiyori, who is on her way home. Yato starts acting in his usual goofy manner, but Hiyori does not recognize him, leaving him frozen in shock. "Wait, you don't remember this handsome face?" he exclaims. "Talk about a cold shoulder." Hiyori does not remember Yato or anything about him. It bothers Yato so much that he decides to bring her back to normal. He takes Hiyori to where they first met, rescuing a cat, Mylord. He becomes Da Vinci for a moment as he draws Mylord's portrait. After many hints, she cannot remember who Yato is and wants to go back as she has arrived there to give Yukine her books. It makes Yato sad, and he decides to draw a picture book to make her remember him back. Yato and Yukine go out to buy art materials to make picture books and spend all the yen he has collected. While coming back, Nora appears there and Yato learns she is behind all this stuff. Nora does not want Hiyori to indulge in far shore matters and expects Yato to return to his normal self. Nora is the regalia of Rabao God, who used to be an acquaintance of Yato back there. Rabao appears there, transforms Nora into his sword, and attacks Yato. Yato and Yukine fight back. Yato shows his killing intent to Rabao, as Rabao would eliminate him if they held back. Rabao tries to make Yato remember his past, where his extent of power was not like his present self. The atmosphere gets filled with the dark aura, which makes other gods alert. Rabao is strong enough to injure Yukine, who transforms back into a human self. Nora returns to human form and promises Yato that if he can defeat Rabao, she will return Hiyori's memories. Saying it, they disappear from sight. Yukine is at Kafuku's home, where Kazuma visits them. Yukine learns Rabao is the god of calamity born out of people's evil desires in order to eliminate others. He killed people to fulfill those desires along with his partner, Yato, who is also a god of calamity, used to be partners with him. We see a super cool and badass Yato in a flashback.
That's what I'm talking about.
Totally opposite from his present loser self. Kafuku tells Yukine that Hiyori knows all about it, and she decides to stay friends with Yato as she knows he has changed. Yato is at Tenjin's shrine, where the old man tells Yato that it might be better for Hiyori not to remember him and avoid her transformation into a half-phantom. While returning, he meets Yukine, who has decided to make Hiyori remember Yato, but Yato shows no concern. Yukine finishes the storybook Yato was working on himself and shows it to Hiyori, but Hiyori cannot remember anything. Nora meets Yato again. He sees the memory orb of Hiyori dripping. Nora wants Yato to visit them. With that dripping, Hiyori loses her memory about Yukine when she is about to take a coloring book from Yukine but does not take it. Yukine cries at the lake about Hiyori forgetting them. Yato joins him, and they decide to bring her memory back. They go to Hiyori's place, where they tell her they will get her memory back and want her to rest and wait. For some reason, she starts crying, and when Yato and Yukine are about to disappear, she clings to Yato's shoulder, but Yato and Yukine vanish from sight, and her body falls. Rabao and Nora are at the place that used to be Rabao and Yato's shrine. Yato and Yukine arrive there, but Hiyori, in phantom form, also appears with them. Yato and Rabao start fighting with their regalias right away. Rabao captures Yato in his water orb. Yato is unable to cut it from the inside, and Hiyori saves them from it. Yato thanks Hiyori and makes a grateful face, which pisses Rabao off because he's a bitter old man without a speck of romance in his life and can't bear seeing a fellow god of calamity get chummy with a girl. He wants Yato to be in God of Calamity form and cross swords with him then. Rabao goes to Hiyori to attack her, but Yato comes there and runs, taking Hiyori with him. They reach a distant place where Yato wants Yukine to run with Hiyori, and he would stay behind as Rabao wants Yato. Rabao arrives there too, carrying an orb of Hiyori memories. He throws it far away. Yato goes to it, following it, but Rabao breaks it through his sword. Hiyori loses her consciousness and becomes a vessel without memories. Yato carries her body to the side. He finally gets the stereotypical hero getting mad at the villain for hurting his girl rage. Seeing a dark storm in the environment, Bishamon learns that it is due to God's calamitous appearance. Yato has become strong with killing intent showing in his eyes, exactly what Rabao desired. Rabao cannot stand a chance against Yato and absorbs Dark Storm, merging with phantoms to eliminate Yato. They fight, and it results in the crumbling of rock. Some rocks are about to fall on Hiyori, and Yato rushes back to save her. Yato gets on top of Hiyori so the rocks don't hit her. Hiyori is unconscious, but the same old nasty scent of Yato that she's obsessed with wakes her up. She hugs Yato and holds his face, implying that she has remembered everything. In a sweet moment, they share a romantic spark. But Hiyori quickly reverts to her usual self, playfully kicking Yato back to reality. Nora, wide-eyed, can't believe Hiyori broke free from her spell without breaking a sweat. Meanwhile, Hiyori finds herself unjustly blamed by Rabao for Yato's predicament, leading to a not-so-friendly capture. Yato, ever the strategist, urges Yukine to go on a phantom slaying spree, leaving Rabao's crew in shambles. With a flick of his wrist, Yato sends Rabao packing, alone and vulnerable. It's a classic case of one-man army, well, a god. Technically, in a surprising twist, Yato emerges victorious, leaving Rabao begging for a quick end, a move that's like asking for dessert after a heavy meal. As tensions ease, Nora, looking like she just lost a game of Monopoly, decides it's time to spill the beans to Daddy Dearest. Back at home base, Yato, with a somber tone, suggests Hiyori cut ties for a shot at a normal life, but she's having none of it, asserting her commitment to their dynamic duo. At Kafuku's hangout, Hiyori, with a hint of awkwardness, spills her guts about wanting to stick with Yato forever, cueing Yato's blush, turning him into a teenage girl at a boy band concert. He then hilariously extends his hand, pulling a "your wish is my command" act, but hey, even gods have bills to pay. Hiyori, playing along, hands him a measly 5-yen coin, which he accepts with all the enthusiasm of a kid with a new toy, wrapping up the moment with a comedic bow.